Julie, candles. Candles. Julie? Julie? I was going to ask Nicole, but she's not here yet, so. Hi, welcome, guys. Where are you guys from?
Oh God. Mm. Um,
We may be starting at 6:05 tonight. Thank you all for your patience.
um, um.
Shabbat Shalom and welcome to everyone. Officially now, I'm Rabbi Michael Feshbach.
I'm cantorial soloist Talia Feshbach.
Our accompanist and master of music, Gilchrist Sproul, who I look forward to hearing with Talia in whatever he chooses to join in for tonight, as we will blend both of their voices together along with your voices as you join us. Welcome to everyone who is here on this Erev Christmas, to our Christmas neighbors, Christian neighbors, on this Christmas Eve. We welcome Shabbat with light and with warmth. Candles will be lit this night by Jennifer Arellano. The reading, the Kavanah, the introduction is on page 121, and then the bracha, the blessing for the lighting of candles, on page 120.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light.
Jennifer, as you try to light the first one yet again, we continue in any of the readings, pages 124 through 127, in personal prayer. I think the lighting of the candles is one of the most challenging parts of services in our congregation, with the trade winds having come, the winds coming in, thankfully. My son earlier said it was quite hot here. That's true, but boy, is this cooler compared to the weather as it was here recently.
Oh. Right, sorry.
You know, it is only a custom to have two candles lit. We can.
Come on.
There we go.
Come on, buddy.
Yeshikach.
Oh, thank God.
Wind wasn't having it today.
Page 130, Kabbalat Shabbat, the psalms and songs with which we welcome Shabbat. Lechuna ranana, shiru ladonai shir chadash. Come, let us sing joyously to Adonai, sing unto God a new song. The opening paragraph from Psalm 95, sung slowly twice, and then most of what is on page 131, sung a little more rapidly. Page 130 and 131, Psalms 95 and 96. 131. Last two lines on the page. I've never been sure why the setting skips a few lines, but for those of you who are on island and choosing to not only see the restaurants and the beach, but also to hike a little bit, discover some of the amazing places that lead to less visited beaches, I am reminded of the words we skipped from the psalm. Let the sea and all within it thunder, let the fields and everything in them exult, then shall all the trees of the forest shout for joy. The lines we skipped towards the bottom of 131, Ya'aloz sadai v'chol asher bo, az yiranenu kol atzei ya'ar. Light is sown for the righteous. Or Zarua la Tzadik, the words are on the bottom of page 132 from Psalm 97, the English translation on the top of 133.
Thank you.
And on page 135, the reference at the end of Psalm 99 is, of course, when it said God's holy hill, it is, of course, to Yerushalayim, to Har HaBayit, to Mount Zion in Jerusalem. But for us here on St. Thomas, God's holy hill is clearly the one you just came up. Romamu Adonai Eloheinu, exalt Adonai our God, and bow toward God's holy hill. Pages 138 and 139. From the hills of Sfat from the 16th century, this welcoming of Shabbat, Lachadodi, stanzas 1, 2, 5, and 9. Top of 139. Please rise. our many visitors to our islands. From Psalm 93 in English, the last section on page 141 together. The ocean sounds, Adonai. The ocean sounds its thunder. The ocean sounds its pounding. Above the thunder of the mighty waters, more majestic than the breakers of the sea, is Adonai, majestic on high. Your decrees are indeed enduring. Holiness befits your house, Adonai, for all times. Page 142, Shalom Aleichem. We are blessed with several family friends here tonight who have been involved and engaged in the work of making this world a better place for so many decades, so many years, the work of Tikkun Olam, of social justice. And so in honor of that, we go below the line on page 143, not our usual reading, but we read out loud the paragraph on the very bottom of the page together. And so we understand that ordinary people are messengers of the Most High. They go about their tasks in holy anonymity, often even unknown to themselves. Yet if they had not been there, if they had not said what they said or did what they did, it would not be the way it is now. We would not be the way we are now. Never forget that you too, yourself, may be a messenger, perhaps even one whose errand extends over several lifetimes. Chatzi Kaddish, page 144.
יתקדש ויתקדש שמי רבה, ועמד יברח חירותי ויניח מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון, ובחיי כל בית ישראל, בגלה בגלה, ובזמן קריב, וימרו אמן, יהי שמי רבה מבורך, לעולם ולעלמי עלמיה, יתברך וישתבח, ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתהלל, שמי קודשה בריחו, לילה מן קורבך ושירתה, תושבחת ונחמתה, תמהרן בעלמא, ויאמרו Amen.
With apologies to those who have heard me say this before, as we come to the Baruch Hu on page 146, we are in a second going to face the Ark. We are facing Red Hook, which is facing St. John, which, if you continue a little further on, is facing Yerushalayim, is facing Jerusalem. Page 146, we rise and face the Ark. the top of page 149. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, together from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars, creator of the tide of time and light. You guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Baruch atah Adonai, ha-ma'ariv, aravim. Page 150, Ahavat Olam. Please be seated.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם מאוד על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Adonai Elohechem, Emet. In my fairly brief remarks later on in a few minutes tonight, I'm going to note that the imagery that we have, which leads into Michamocha, the escape from Egypt, that has become a cultural motif. What's the name for that thing that goes all through like a meme, right? You know, a trope, a meme. That has transcended its origin in the Jewish people and has become part of African American history. Go down Moses. It has become part of world history. There is a sign outside of Dharamsala, the home in exile of the Tibetan Buddhists, that says next year in Lhasa, using the imagery of hope that comes from the Exodus, a shared story, a sense of similarity. We will be speaking about similarities later as we turn now, kids who we gave the eggs to, the little shakers, get them ready. We are going to page 158 for Michamocha. Baruch Hu Baruch Shemo. Amen. The insert in the handout. The insert in the handout. Hashkivenu and one way. 163, then back to 162 for Vishamru. We are a people in whom the past endures, in whom the present is inconceivable without moments gone by. The Exodus lasted a moment enduring forever. What happened once upon a time happens all the time. Welcome home. Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel, when marching with Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King in Selma, famously said when he marched at Selma, he felt as if his feet were praying. Pray as if everything depended on God. Act as if everything depends on us. The Amidah, the Tefillah, beginning on page 164. Please rise.
Adonai, sifat atifta, fufi agite ilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei avotinu v'imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el HaGadol, HaGibor v'Hanora, Elyon, Gomer Chasadim Tovim, V'konei HaKol, V'zocher Chesdei Avot v'Imahot, U'mevii Geulah Livnei Bneihem, Le'man Shemo be'ahava, Melech Ozer Moshiach Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham Ezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechayeh HaKol atah Rav L'Hoshia, Mashiv HaRuach u'Morid HaGashem, Mechakel Chaim b'Chesed, Mechayeh HaKol b'Rachamim Rabim, Zomech noflim verofech olim, umatir asurim. Yeshua. V'ne'eman atah lechayot hakol. Baruch atah Adonai mechayeh hakol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh. Kadoshim b'chol yom yehallelu Selah. Baruch atah Adonai ha'el hakadosh.
Seated or standing, in English or in Hebrew, we continue in personal prayer. We continue in personal prayer. Mishaberach, Avotenu Avraham Yitzhak v'Yaakov. V'imotenu Sarah Rivka Rachel v'Leah. V'varech v'erapeh et hacholim ha'eleh. O God, who blessed our ancestors Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebekah, Rachel, and Leah, send your blessing and your healing, your comfort and your hope to all those whose names appear before us in our service sheet, and in addition to those names, or even including them if you would like, we will add out loud those of our family, those of our friends who are ill and in need of our attention. Rachel Korazim, Betsy Kingery, Jim Weibel, Brooke Robin. Any other names from here in the congregation? Anyone ill and in need of our attention? Anyone on Zoom? Names for the prayer for healing.
Lois Steinberg, Adrian Hobbs, Helen Rosenberg.
Is there anyone on Zoom?
Susan Goldstein.
Oh, somebody sent a chat. Okay. Anyone else want to unmute?
Yes, Susan Goldstein, Helene Feldman.
Baruch atah Adonai Rofei Cholim. We praise you, O God, who helps us heal,
Randy
who
Andrew,
hears our prayer.
Alan Kossoff, Cyril Eck.
Abraham,
We begin this week reading the book of Exodus, of Shemot. And the story of the Exodus, as I said earlier, is in fact one of those memes, those tropes, those themes which have leapt from Jewish tradition into that of the African American struggle for liberation. And even to Buddhism, it has gone all around the world. It has become, from its Jewish roots, it has become that message of hope for all peoples. It is a reminder that there is a common anthem, if you will, of humanity that unites all of us. And so often in comparing Christianity and Judaism, we focus on the differences. Tonight on this, as you were Erev Christmas, I wanted really, I've done this in teaching but never in a sermon, or whatever you call this, focused on the similarities. Now, some of these are similarities that you have to understand differences even to understand the similarities. But between Judaism and Christianity, I'm sure you can come up with your own. But I want to offer up 4 big similarities, not differences, similarities. There are differences within the similarities, but 4 big similarities. First of all, Christianity is whatever the relationship you want to use, younger sibling, daughter, offspring. It is the second great monotheistic tradition in the world. We share with Christianity, being one of the great monotheistic faiths. Now, when I was growing up, this was not inherently obvious to me. What do you mean 3 equals 1? That's just bad math. I could not understand for the life of me what they were talking about when they talked about the Trinity. Just beyond me. But I have to say that we have different names for God, even in Gilchrist's favorite high holiday setting, Avinu Malkeinu. Just that prayer has 2 images in it. Avinu, our Father. Malkeinu, our King. Father is not the same thing as a king. A mother is not the same thing as a father. Although who knows with whatever, never mind, I'm not going there. But the imagery of different names for God, the same God, while reflecting different experiences. Sometimes God is close. You might call God a friend. Sometimes God is reliable, the rock, prudential. Sometimes God is a judge, and we might say a king, a judge. Different words for different experiences of the one God. I finally came to understood that Christianity is in fact every bit as monotheistic as Judaism, even with the Trinity. Monotheism, number 1. Similarity, number 1. Similarity, number 2, may also seem like a difference. Messianism. Look, okay, we invented the idea. We'll talk about that another time. And it is true, there are obvious differences. In particular, I would say that Christianity specified, deified, and multiplied the idea of the Messiah. Specified it in a particular person, who they said has come already. Deified, that I don't have to explain. And multiplied. There's nothing in Jewish tradition about the idea of the Messiah coming, leaving, and having to come back to finish the job. Except, by the way, in later rabbinic texts in reaction to Christianity and a reminder that we trade off ideas one against another, there are later developed ideas of 2 tasks for a Messiah to accomplish, but that's later. Nevertheless, the idea in traditional Orthodox Judaism, a descendant of King David who will probably be born on Tisha B'Av in August, not December, but and have red hair. The idea of somebody who will lead us back to the idea of a Messiah, not a relative of God, but, an agent, that is a core contribution of Judaism to the world. It is something we share in common with Christianity, this idea of a hope for a better reform. And some conservative Jews might say, okay, we're not praying for one person to come and solve all our problems. We are praying for a messianic age, for a Messiah-like time. But however you envision it, the sense of hope for a better world, that is shared between Judaism and Christianity. And here is one which I think is a false difference. Sometimes you will hear people say, oh, Judaism is the religion of the Old Testament, of law, and Christianity is the religion of the New Testament, of love. And look, here I have to point out a difference. I mean, one of our traditions say if you're a good person, no matter what your religious faith, you earn a place in the world to come. And the other tradition, in its classical expression, says, you believe exactly the way I do, or you are punished forever. You tell me which is a religion of love and which is a religion of... right? All my point is not that we have it backwards and to say Judaism is the real religion of love. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that law and love are aspects, are both pillars in both Judaism and Christianity. To say that one is law and the other is love is a false distinction. So that is similarity number 3. And finally, ethics as part of religious tradition. Not the content, but the concept. Why do I say not the content? I really don't like the phrase Judeo-Christian ethics. I don't like the phrase, even though I know it's like Christians trying to be polite and realizing that they're not the only religion in this country, although you never hear Judeo-Christian Islamic ethics, right? You don't hear that term. It's too long, but what? The Abrahamic ethics I am starting to hear. But actually, I mean, Judaism and Christianity do have very different concepts of what it means to be a human being. I mean, one tradition says we are born flawed and in need of grace to achieve salvation, and the other says that we're born with impulses to do good and impulses to do bad. If the definition of what it means to be human is different, then the definition of ethics is actually going to be different. But the concept that ethics and morality are part of our religious faith tradition, that is a similarity, and it is a similarity in contrast, I would argue. One member of my former congregation, a professor of classical archaeology, Diane Klein, might disagree with this, but I would argue that this is a contrast with the pagan world. It is a contrast with polytheism. The idea that ethics and morality are essential aspects of our religious and spiritual lives, I think that is a similarity. Monotheism, messianism, law and love, and a sense of ethics as part of religious tradition, that, I think, are profound similarities between our great faith traditions. You may have come up with some of your own, in which case you can tell Talia later, or share them with me on another occasion. If this were a class, we'd spend a half hour and I would have opened with your thoughts, but these are mine on this Erev Christmas. I promised I would be brief, so I will simply say Shabbat Shalom. There are no Shabbat morning worship services or Torah study tomorrow morning. It is, if you would like to, you are welcome to daven tomorrow morning at Sharei Shena. That is something that my conservative colleagues, conservative rabbis, will sometimes say when they are skipping synagogue on Saturday morning. Sharei Shena means gates of sleep. So please feel free to daven at Sharei Shena tomorrow morning. It is a great debate about whether the obligation of Jews to eat Chinese food on Christmas is fulfilled if you eat it tonight versus if you eat it tomorrow. There's a great machloket, a great argument, l'shem shemayim, for the sake of heaven, about which time it is the commandment for Jews to eat Chinese food. My tradition is that we eat it tomorrow morning rather than on Christmas Eve. Not tomorrow morning, tomorrow during the day at some point. Shabbat Shalom to everyone. Thank you all for being here with us. We wondered who would be able to be here and fighting the parking tonight, and there were some voices within the congregation that said we should go all online tonight, and then I would not have had a chance to meet all of you. So I'm very glad that all of you are here. Gilchrist, I don't know what your other offers were for tonight, but thank you so much for being here with us tonight. I really, truly appreciate it. And a Merry Christmas and blessed season to you and your loved ones, and thank you. Jackie and Carol, if you will open the ark doors, please. Our service continues with Aleinu on the bottom of page 586. As they are coming forward, we usually, in the days before COVID, we would circle in the center of the congregation, put our arms around each other and infect each other. And then we would have an oneg. Hold 1 second before you open it, Carol. And then we would go across the street to our community house and have an involved oneg. Tonight, with Omicron spreading fast, I will lead the Kiddush and a brief motzi from up here instead of our sharing bread and sharing germs. I pray. 2020 started well and really went bad from there. I'm hoping 2022 starts in a very difficult way and rapidly improves, exactly the mirror image of 2020. As we continue, the bottom of, I'm not even mentioning 2021. The bottom of page 586, please rise. As we open the ark doors,
Kind of finicky sometimes.
they are, the more humid it gets, the more stuck they are. It is not impossible that Michael locked them before he left. Imagining our beautiful Torah scrolls, I have it, but it's going to take too long. Imagining what's behind the curtain. The bottom of page 586, without opening them, it's okay. Thank you for standing there. Galenu l'shabeach ladon hakol latei. As we close the ark doors, you may be seated. Hashevota Elivavecha Ki Adonai Hu Elohim Hashamayim Imam Ve'al haaretz mitachat Einod V'nemar V'hayadonai words of Chana Senesh, found on page 595. As we live our days, these are the ways we remember. We remember. As we live our days, these are the We remember Ida M. Baum, Helen Bliss, Louis Fleischman, Adele Weiner Gordon, Irving M. Grishman, Nancy B. Margolis, Evelyn Migdal, Celia Minion, Ruth Novick, Kathy Pryor Phillips, James Rosenthal, Helen Rothman, Jose Rozansky, Josefa Shamir, Ben Slosky, Jack Soloway, Irving Sternberg, Doris R. Tunick, Jack Weinberger, William Zahler. We observe yahrzeit of the following high members and those dear to our high members: Harriet Askenaz, Joseph Barisa, Karl Barov, Walter Berman, Leonard Black, Ray Blumenfeld, Ruth Bobrow, Evelyn Bressler, George Bressler, Joel Cohen, Myron Cohen, Esther Davis, Raoul Dijon, Chaim Donan, Morton Dosick, Martha Fink, Abraham Friedman, Irene Garber, Sandy Garin, Gus Goldstein, Reuben Goodman, Abraham Gordon, Robert Green, Stanley Gruberg, William Hack, Elaine Hine, Abraham Heller, Julius Kaplan, Lillian Carroll, Naomi Kaufman, Lucille Cranston, Hella Laska, Dr. Harrison Latta, Isidore Levin, Edith Levine, Frederick Lipton, Mitchell Lupson, Joseph Marcus, Eddie Mazer, Selma Molaski, Rachel Ovadia, Rosemary Palmer, Adolph Peters, Grigori Ritsagi, Wolf Ring, Barbara Rosen, Zelda Rosenbluth, Abe Rudberg, Jean Ruff, Estelle Sachs, Pearl Shaman, Helen Scheibschewitz, Joseph Schulman, Philip Slobbard, Hilda Smaller, George Sternberg, Hyman Walper, Norman Watkins, Anita Weinstein, Charles Weiss. During this period of Shloshim, May Rossen, Robert Dole, Stephen Sondheim, Michael Warren, William Frumkin. Is there anyone here to say Kaddish for someone whose name I did not mention or a name which I may have mispronounced?
Yes, Rabbi Arthur Hartstein.
Is there anyone on Zoom to add a
Valley
name for
Maya.
Kaddish?
Yes, Arthur Hartstein.
As we live our days, these are the ways we remember. We remember. As we live our days, these are the ways we remember. We remember.
Kaddish Yatom, page 598. As is the custom in most Reform synagogues, we rise as a congregation as a whole for the Mourner's Kaddish itself. Page 598. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, v'alma tivrach gerutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chaye chon uv'yomei chon uv'chaye techol Beit Yisrael, pa'agalau v'zman kariv imru amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah Varach Leolam Olmei Almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal Shmei Dekudasha Barechu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechamata ta'amiran bi'alma v'imru amen. Yehei Shlama Rabbah min Shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh Shalom b'mromav. Hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel ve'imru. Amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn at this time of pandemic and plague, of terrible loss and suffering in so many places. Send peace to all who are bereaved among us in our congregation and those who are connected to us from cyberspace from all over the world. And console those who are suffering the pain of loss everywhere in all congregations and all communities everywhere. And together let us say, Amen. Someday we will come together and come closer physically once again. But for tonight, since I anticipated correctly as it turned out, Jackie, it is great to see you, but we are the few, the proud, the Islanders. We are playing host to multiple guests tonight. I thought that might be the case. So when it is, I sometimes turn to page 653, a setting also written by Hannah Senesh called Halichala Kesaria, but to me it is the anthem of this congregation, for it speaks about Hachol v'hayam, the sand and the sea. Eli, Eli, page 653. It is wonderful to be with you, and I hope we can catch up outside of the building in a few moments. We have given our custodial staff and our professional team the day off today so they could spend it with family. So we have a wonderful substitute in to close up the doors. So I will ask you to step out of the building as quickly as you can in a moment. I look forward to seeing all of you at a time beyond COVID when we can really approach one another in menschlich ways. But thank you all for being here on this wonderful Shabbat. Gilchrist, thank you very much, and we'll see you with champagne next Friday night. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzah b'hanu, b'shabbat kodsho v'ahava uvratzon yitchilanu, zikaron lema'aseh v'reshit, kihu yom techilah lemikrayeh kodesh, zecher letziat Mitzrayim, kivanu v'charata, ve'otanu kidashta, mikol ha'amin, v'shabbat kodshecha, ve'ahava uvratzon, inchaltanu, baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh Shabbat.
You're back on the islands. It's 18 here. L'chaim.
Doesn't mean it tastes good.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz.
Amen.
B'tei alon. Shabbat shalom. Thank you all, and welcome everyone.